Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another process video. Today I'm going to be working in my son's album, and that means I'm starting a new month with a pocket page for the month of November. And as you guys know, especially if you've been following me for a while, I do this so that way I can get all the little stories onto one 12 by 12 layout, while I have just a few 12 by 12 layouts to not bulk up my album, so I can get at least a whole year's worth in. So far I've actually stayed on track. In fact, I'm noticing, gosh, at such a young age, at not yeah, he was 3 years old. So this is when he had just turned 3 in October, that on his album 2, I actually got through a whole year's worth and still had room in his album. So I was taking less photos because I had a newborn daughter, and so I know that moving forward from here on out, I am actually going to be able to get more than just 1 year into an album. But I like to do this because, like I said, I don't want to scrapbook every single photo I have of my son, especially because there's so many duplicates. So I always pick the favorites, pick out the favorite stories that I want to share, and that's how I discovered my love for, actually obsession of Pocket Page, doing, documenting by the month versus weekly. So I grabbed the Cocoa Vanilla Totally Rad collection to work my son's album. Is it even remotely looking like fall? No, and this is in the month of November, but I think you can get away with stuff like that. I definitely am not a rule follower when it comes to scrapbooking. I feel like there is no right or wrong. It's do what you want to do and do what you find works best. So when I went through the collections that I had, I have no problems with using girl collections. I've done it before where it's pictures of him and I. But his favorite colors are blues, greens, yellows, oranges. So he loves all those type of colors, whether it's in pastel, muted color, or a primary color where it's more saturated. Those are just his favorite colors. So I definitely try to remember that and trying to gravitate to what he likes. So anyways, moving on, I picked out a couple of photos of us in the month of November, and when I was looking through the embellishments, I have to say I struggled a bit. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't find a whole lot that kind of fit to the photos. uh, and definitely I could have made it work, but I also didn't want to overpower this layout. I'm working with a different type of style format for Project Life. I've used this now a couple of times just recently, and it's not a true 12 by 12 pocket sleeve. It is, I want to say, a 9 by 12, or even maybe even shorter than that. It could even be a 10 by 12. I haven't even done the measurements, but I'm just, where that photo stops is where that pocket sleeve will stop. And so it's very different. It's not my favorite. I love the other one that I do, where you got total of four 4x6s and four 3x4 cards. But this does allow me to document photos that are vertical. And because it's not a full 12 by 12, I feel with this type of pocket sleeve, you definitely have to, um, it's photo heavy. So I can only get 3 with, and already it's photo heavy. And so with that, I got to be mindful of embellishments. And while I want to go crazy with embellishments, I simplify it, which ends up being my style as it is. And that's where I looked through everything that I had and said, okay, because a lot of things aren't working, let me make it cohesive. Let me focus on one product. And that is the phrases that were in the cut apart sheet. So I made sure every picture has a phrase on it. And then I needed to create a 4x6 card. And my friend Corey sent these to me a long time ago. I don't know who makes them, but the one with the polka dots ended up being perfect. It matched beautifully with this Cocoa Vanilla collection. And it said something like these, remember this, or here's what we did this week, or something like that. I can't read it because I'm on a smaller screen, but because I don't do it weekly, I just took the October daily and cut out the word week and added the November. Now I've glued everything down, but I left the last two not glued, and here's why. The B is already a tall letter, and with this font, it's even taller than normal. I wanted to show you where I placed the B because it was tall. I didn't want the um, the tallness of the bee, uh, or the back of the B, whatever you want to call it, going through the letter H. So I lined it up so that way it was right next to the I. That way it's very clean. You can read it very clearly, and I just love the look of that versus, like I said, just placing the B in like the middle of an H. I just did not want that to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those phrases down, like I said, giving it a very cohesive look. Now I don't have a whole lot of embellishments going on. It's giving your eye to rest at some point and to focus on the photographs because, like I said, it is a very small pocket sleeve. It's a lot smaller. I went through some embellishments, and then when I was going through the sticker sheet, I felt like I needed more orange on here, even though um, I have orange in November, and now I have it on that diagonal arrow. And then I do have a third spot, which gives you the visual triangle on the U rock. Now, as I was going through, I grabbed some buttons and I took the foam off of it because it was so much dimension as it is, even though those buttons are flat. And I'm going to go ahead and add a 2. Now, I picked the glue dots to glue them down just in case if I decided to change my mind. I feel like the glue dots can be forgiving, which I'm going to change my mind anyways because I'm going to realize once I put 2 of those down, I have way too much dimension going on, and I honestly don't like a whole lot of dimension. This is a tip. I've done this before. All it is on not only a wood button, but also on brads. All it is an enamel dot. That's it, an epoxy sticker that easily pops right off, and there you have a decorative enamel dot, which I have to say, I'm obsessed with them, and I'm surprised they haven't made like that, like the new embellishment, where instead of just enamel dots in solid color, they make them to be a little bit more decorative. I think they need to start doing that because I love them. I'm not going to throw out the wood button because I definitely think it's cute, and I'll probably use it for some other type of project. So I'm definitely going to go hold on to that and put it back in its package. And then I'm really loving the look. Like I said, this is very minimal, but I don't want it to be the focus where someone is looking at my album. That's the first thing they focus on is like, look at all the cute products. I know they're cute. That's why I love scrapbooking. But I want it to be where the first focus that you see is, oh my gosh, look at how adorable he is. This was the story, and focus on the photos. To me, the embellishments come second, always. I would definitely always want you to look at those photos. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a bullet journaling on that U Rock page. And then I'm going to create one more 3x4 card. I needed to have one more at the top, but I knew that none of the really 3x4 cards, because this is an older collection, this is when she was kind of dabbling, I feel, into the pocket cards. And so there was only 3 of them that I had, and none of them really worked. So I did have this one that I kept eyeing, and that is, I think it says like, these are good times. And I thought about placing it onto right there on the edge, but then I thought, okay, well, it's pointing to the next page that will actually be the companion of this, where I'm going to use all the same products. And I didn't really want that, so I decided to move it over next to my son, and that way it says these are the good times, and then it will point to the journaling. The journaling is just going to be bullet point, which means it's going to be just a quick little detail. You know, this is over 12 years ago, and I've had people say, how do you remember the details? The pictures actually trigger my memory, and then I start remembering things. I talked to my husband about it. Hey, do you remember this? And I kind of get just to not into the deep details. I give you just the surface of the story, from what I can remember. Unless I was scrapbooking current events all the time, that's the only way I'm going to be able to get a lot more words in there. But it's enough for me to remember 20, 30 years from now. All right, so after I grab a 3x4 paper, or not 3x4 paper, I cut a 3x4 card out of 12x12 paper. I really like the star one. One thing I definitely had to keep in mind is there is words in those stars. I'm going to wave goodbye, but like always, I'm like, aha, I had an idea. I want to match the curved or rounded corners that is also on the title card. I'm really liking this. I like to have just a little bit variety on a page to keep it interesting, and I'm going to call this layout done. Very simple, guys, very fast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, I greatly appreciate it. It helps out my channel. And if you're new here, I do hope you consider subscribing. I would love to have you. Y'all have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.